It's interesting. Just this weekend, we've seen a lot of exciting support play. Aurora, #2 on the Alpha Draft top performers yesterday. We saw another good performance out of some European supports yesterday. And again today, Trixtank doing his thing. Team Dignitas will have first pick this time around. They say no Wukong.
It doesn't surprise me that they're going to ban away Wukong, leave him off the table. They don't have to pick him up here. What I want to see out of Dignitas, though, is if they draft a composition like they did last time, is try to utilize it a little bit more. They had this sort of strength in the mid game, in the middle area. They've got Kulkulkan, they've got Ymir, they've got a Sylvanas that could all get there, and a Thor. Plenty of CC to set up for a lot of burst damage from Spirit of the Night Winds and the Tornadoes, but it never felt like they had the opportunity to do that. They need to try and make that happen for themselves, potentially group a little bit earlier if need be, especially when Rens was having a good performance in that duo against Funballer.
I honestly, I didn't have too much issue. I didn't take much issue with their composition, Hindu Man. I just think it was the execution.
I completely agree.
I didn't see, really, honestly, where was Thor? I didn't see enough Thor in that matchup, and I think that really could have swung things. FrezzOO going to be selecting Athena. Athena might be seen in the jungle or the solo lane, I will admit, but most likely going to be on the support.
I expected to go to FrezzOO here on this Athena. Maybe go alongside Freya as well. But very surprising picks and bans here with them focused. Dignitas doing target bans on Neath and Sun Wukong here. Leaves a lot of things available. And that is probably going to be a Thor support.
Yeah, so this is Paradigm. And as I said, a lot of what Paradigm does is considered off-brand or off-meta to a lot of these teams, but Paradigm has really embraced this and brought a lot of what most teams would consider strange into what makes this team win. So Trixtank has played Thor support before. I honestly like what brings to the table, but if it does wind up being support, it'll be going up against what some people have been considering the best hunter in the game due to the recent patch.
Yeah, the recent patch buffed up some of his base values on his abilities in terms of scaling, and as well as load the cooldown on Ricochet. Big impacts in the world of Smite for that dual lane, especially when a lot of people beforehand believed he was one of the strongest mid to late game anyway. Sure. But now he's just helping him out all over. Scylla drafted very early by Dignitas here, though.
So Scylla is interesting. It's pretty much the polar opposite of what, at least with respects to lane clear, of Kukulkan. Kukulkan has set it and forget it from level 1 tornadoes. Scylla doesn't really clear a wave to level 8, so very different in that regard. Chronos selected on Paradigm. Don't be surprised if you see that on Funball.
Now that Hellband there, I was thinking about why would you draft Scylla so early, and I was thinking maybe you don't want to give that to a mid laner if you're going to pick an Odin Hell combo as your last 2 picks. Now, the reason you pick Odin to go with the Hell, obviously, so they can't pick it themselves.
Right.
But then you're looking to isolate the mid laner. Scylla's one of the only ones in the mid lane that has an escape, other than Chronos that can technically rewind now. But they may have been looking for a Hell Odin composition. This is what I think on paper. It might not be right, but that's what I first thought when I saw Scylla drafted so early.
Sure. Uller banned out, and again...
Shots
It's looking at Lawbster directly there, Paradigm. And what I like about this draft that Paradigm has right here, Hindu Man, these gods have all gone in multiple roles for this team. If you look at it, it's very obvious where these gods are going for everyone else. But for Paradigm, Thor could be played by Qvo or Trixtank. Serqet, Xaliea has taken Serqet into the solo lane before. Chronos can be played on all 3 of the main lanes. And then Isis, well, either solo or mid. So the ambiguity
Support
has
Isis. Here we go. Support Isis for Trixtank.
Chill.
That'll throw the world apart.
The ambiguity presented by Paradigm in their course of the season. If you do homework against this team, as most of these pro teams do, all of them, then you know that this is this is just a rough draft to really start to gain any insight into.
So I feel, looking at that, it's going to be a Guan jungle. But it could be, I want to say a Loki jungle is potential because Guan is pretty safe in that solo lane. And we've not actually seen, we've seen Variety play more Guan than I've seen FrostiaK play Guan in the jungle. But Guan jungle we've seen before on DJ Pernicus.
Ah, look at that.
Well, we know who that is now.
So this is exciting to me because that Loki solo, if it's going to be solo,
it will be solo,
right?
I suspect.
Sure. It's a great pick against Isis if Xaliea decides to go Isis. It's a fantastic pick against Isis. But then you can clean up by picking Chaac, and all of a sudden that's a horrible matchup for Loki because it's Chaac. And, you know, there's a situation where I'm not even going to go ahead and guess. So we'll be Xaliea on the Chaac. QvoFred.
It's Jungle Loki.
Yep, there
Jungle
it is.
Loki. Jungle Loki.
Jungle Loki.
Jungle
That makes
Loki.
more sense to the solo Loki as far as the matchup is concerned. A lot of what Jungle Loki has problems with, obviously,
Clip.
Loki, very easy to kill people with once he gets going. But that's a really big if.
Well, one benefit he does have of going jungle over than lane is he doesn't have to max his decoy first, which it will allow him to actually get a little bit more damage off in engagements and poke, which allows better bleeds because the Vanish is leveled up, as well as your aim strike does a little bit more damage as well, instead of the earlier game being so weak. But your jungle control is probably the weakest of any jungler in terms of clearing.
Yeah,
and that's one thing he's going to need support with.
Exactly. We haven't seen Loki in a while in general, and when we do see him, he usually winds up in that solo lane because, as you said, his clear is really lackluster. Jungle Loki was a thing in the past for a long time, but recently, not even recently, the past year or so just hasn't been a thing. That early aggression out of the Thor support, surprising guys on Team Dignitas, and FrezzOO finds himself with a quick 20% HP.
And the big issue right now is because they're both pre-level 5 on this Scylla and Loki, they're going to have to give up camps multiple times in these mid lanes. They can't really contest a Serqet and an Isis at this stage. They're looking for a combo at level 5, though, is what you can see. They'll be looking for the Assassinate, so we'll probably assassinate into I'm a Monster. So I'm a Monster will probably be popped preemptively ever so slightly, just so he's up in it. And the moment the Assassinate goes off, well, the dunk's going to happen, and
Alrighty, in some trouble. There's the axe, and Xaliea cleans up the 1v1 for the first blood in the solo lane. This, for a long time, Hindu, Chaac was looked down on as a crutch pick. You got a sub that's playing solo? Stick him on Chaac. Let him sit on his tower and throw an axe. For Xaliea has been drastically different.
And he
going
got
red
buffed
pot
recently.
Transcendence, straight damage Chaac. It's a much different flavor Chaac than we're used to seeing. And it's been winning a lot lately.
Like I said, he got buffed recently, but before he got buffed, Xaliea was already playing him, but now he's been buffed, but he's got another impact because now the rain does extra slow, which is more impactful during team fights to continue chasing and slowing down targets for your team to pick as well.
This Chaac is one of my favorite gods. I think he affects the game in an interesting way with his 3-second silence, and I mean, at the end of the day, I just think that god is cool.
This is one of the compositions coming out from Dignitas here where I'm like, we're looking at late game, boys. That's what we're looking to do. Go late game. We can tower defend very, very well with the abilities we have to us. And then wait for the late game, get big armor monsters, assassinate a single target, destroy Lawbster in a second, or whoever's big, like a Chronos,
I mean, that
has an opportunity.
That said, Hindu, you also have QvoFred and Funballer here on the side of Paradigm. So late game is... Both teams are fine with going late game. A Chronos late game can demolish, and I mean, a Serqet, watch out.
I mean, Serqet's up there, but not as much. He's not got the speed of an assassination, of a kill, as a Loki does. Because it's 1-2, good night, sweet prince. Whereas Serqet is like, jump in, 1, 2, 3.
Jump in,
I see that now.
grab the ult, push forward. There's the silence, so nothing coming out of Variety. And toasted by the zigzag. QvoFred combines with Xaliea for the second kill
Loki.
here in the solo lane.
FrostiaK is on the way over there, though. He might try and assassinate and pick up the kill onto Serqet, but Thor's going up at the same time.
Thor lands down, only stuns one, but with a strong wall, Funball goes ahead and takes out FrezzOO.
And back to the dual lane. Sorry, to the solo lane. We didn't actually see FrostiaK go aggressive there, so just going to defend the tower for the most part. I think really with what we're seeing out of this composition is exactly what Paradigm won now.
You know, it's funny. Thor support might throw a lot of people at home off, right? But what did the support do right there?
CC chain and gave the kill over to a C-Babe.
Thor did exactly what Trixtank did exactly what he did on Bacchus last game there.
Pretty much.
He dunks down for some sort of CC over the top, deals damage, and then CCs a second time. It's Thor. We're used to seeing him in the jungle, but that's exactly the play that we saw out of Bacchus, except from a much further range because of that quasi-global ultimate.
The two people I can compare to each other the most is Trixtank and Aurora, because they both like those aggressive sort of supports. And it doesn't have to be a guy.
Look at that play coming out of Trixtank. Oh, wow. So that excited me because the ability to switch targets there.
All right, another pick.
So the stun comes out. You see each stun, the Chronos stun and the Trixtank stun, the wall stun, they're on two separate targets. And immediately, Paradigm is able to figure out which target to attack. The Time Rift over the wall and the Thor Hammer combined onto a single target. Fantastic play.
really rough situation again for Dignitas then, because Paradigm are just controlling every part of this map. Scylla's fine in mid lane though, that's a good thing, but Lawbster's being able to have this opportunity that, because everybody's not doing well in the other lanes, rotate around the map and steal buffs, which is stealing experience away from Shadownightmare as well. We
caught a glimpse of the fight over in the solo lane. Variety this time around learned he was able to activate his ultimate before the silence came out against him. A little bit of an invade coming out from the guys on Paradigm. Oh, they're trying to aggress on this Loki stuck.
Good ult away. Good ult away. He was dead then. If he did not manage to find the ult away, maybe he will still. Yeah, he'll get out. But
you saw how long it took. We were talking about that earlier in the man.
What's this goon squad for? The whole of Paradigm is like, let's kill Variety. There's 4 members over here still at the moment. I think. So does
well, poor Variety. He's been lit.
There you go.
There he is, all on top. Where'd he go? Poor Variety.
There's nothing they could do at all. Frezzy had ultimate up, but the speed of what happened there, he couldn't have ulted in time. It was bit bop done. Guan couldn't even heal for it.
What I liked the most out of the Paradigm squad right there was the surprise factor. Variety was not in an unsafe position, right? He's on the threshold of his tower. Sure, he could have been further behind, right? But he's just standing there, and he's standing still. He's looking at the enemy directly in lane. He's standing still, and he's just, all right, there's 3 of you in my lane. I'm not going to walk up. I'm not going to put myself in a bed. There's a Thor on me. I'm dead.
Well, there's 2 things about what happened there. Variety, you said it earlier. He used Cavalry Charge to get away from the Chaac ultimate, which is smart. Stayed safe. But Fire Giant, look where there's a sentry ward there. We saw Trix walk over there, drop a sentry ward, check there's nothing there, went, all right, guys, let's go, because this is a free kill now, because there's no escape for him if we get this perfect. And they did.
And again, the Thor wall coming in the clutch there. Notice how the Thor wall was used. Sure, there's a stun component, but it was used as a physical like you couldn't turn around and just walk away from that situation, even if you weren't crowd controlled, because you were walled in.
Now I know we've seen Trixtank do this Thor multiple times, and I like it.
I love it.
I'm worried about if he ever gets behind and they fall behind, because one thing you get as a Guardian is you get CC, but you're still going to be tankier as the game goes on.
Sure.
Assassins do not get the same sort of base stats at a normal level that a Guardian will. So if you fall behind, you're going to be a lot less tankier, which means your front line is really going to suffer. Gold Fury, though, under threat.
Thor in the air. Look at that effect. Thor goes up, and everyone has to spread out, walk away, and essentially give the Gold Fury up for free. Now Paradigm's going to go ahead and aggress onto the targets that are left here. Down comes the ultimate from Xaliea. He drops the elbow. FrostiaK's going to fall. Trixtank picks up 1 for himself. Rens drops the Suns and send everybody packing. They had 7 kills in total on the side of Paradigm.
They knew exactly where everyone was because of the satellite given up by Thor there. In this guy, Serqet immediately aggresses onto someone, trying to sneak around the back looking for a potential steal, finds the kill, and then on top of that, they also pick up an additional one in Athena because she ults in to protect as well.
That's one of my favorite aspects of this Thor support, that as soon as Trixtank picked it up a while ago, or the first time we saw it, I don't remember how many moons ago, that was one of the first things I brought up, was that the support is usually playing, we saw him do it with Bacchus, nowhere near the Gold Fury, just zoning, right? So Bacchus was able to look at the one route that Shadownightmare would take from the mid lane. Thor, on the other hand, stands by the Gold Fury, goes up, sees basically the entire map, and nobody can group up. Such a deterrent.
Big rotation to right side. This is why Cavalry Charge has been popped, because FrostiaK is here. Scylla's on the way as well.
Good beads.
Beads used wisely by Xaliea, and aggression subsides immediately.
Unfortunately for Team Dignitas, they have yet to find themselves on the
board. They might go again, though. They could go again, because you can see the FrostiaK's over. Sorry, Frezzy's over here as well.
There's the taunt. Here comes the shred, and hello, I am Loki. Doesn't even need the damage from the assassin. Variety puts the team on the board for the first kill for Team Dignitas.
Dignitas was like, hey, Xaliea, you want to taste of some medicine? Yeah, Variety's like, yeah, you want to bring 4 guys over? I'll bring 4 guys over, too.
Yep. Variety, it's funny how much respect Paradigm is showing to Variety, because this player is one of the most improved players, I think, in the league. We saw Variety come in, and, I mean, he caught a reputation for not being the strongest player on the Team Dignitas squad. And for a while, I think that was worth talking about. But these days, specifically the fall split, I feel like for the entirety of the fall split, sort of the end of the summer split, Variety has not only dialed it up just a little bit, but now he commands this respect. That 4-man gank, that was just sort of serendipity. Oh, there's no ward here? Let's go in. He just used his ultimate. But they still committed 2 people separate times onto Variety. Variety these days, coming from where he started from, is commanding respect.
He's finding his way, and one thing you can note between the 2 of the solo laners here as well is on paper, their average damage, Variety does 1,000 more damage a game on average than over Xaliea.
Wow.
Which is something that you don't really you don't know about until you really check deep into the stats and go, huh, did not realize that.
And that's interesting because it comes down to, well, what's relevant damage? If you're trading in the solo lane, is that extra 1,000 damage important?
It's 1,000 damage a game on average, which isn't bad as a small advantage for
Trixtank picks up Rens on the left-hand side, and that'll open the door for Paradigm to fight over here, but FrostiaK deletes QvoFred. Lawbster able to take out Shadownightmare right after the ultimate comes out, which really lowered the health for a lot of these players. It's a 3-on-3 rumble, and Xaliea makes it a 3-on-2. That's going to send FrezzOO packing. And one member of Team Dignitas stays in the mid lane. So it's a good exchange, going the way of Paradigm this time around. 2 for 1 with a solo kill in the long lane. So globally, a 3-for-1 change.
Well, FrostiaK's going to look for an opportunity here onto Funballer, but
FrostiaK getting bursted by Funball. Able to jump up and down. Survives for the moment.
Took a lot of free poke then, surprising. I guess his vanish was on cooldown for the most part. He didn't want to assassinate away if he could help it. Actually, he's assassinating on cooldown. So
exactly. FrostiaK had used that earlier in the engagement to take out Paradigm, to put just the second kill for Dignitas on the board.
This is Paradigm just abusing the situation. Now, if you check him with Golden Experience, look at the lead between these two teams right now. You can see it on the map. 11,000 experience again. That's 1,000 experience bonus per minute in this game. That's going in favor of Paradigm. FrezzOO's going to fall as well. And it's just Paradigm really in a strong position. Oh, the poke coming out, though, onto Lawbster. He's going to fall down, but he's going to get some decent damage off onto Rens in trade. Funballer's getting some good autos up with Trix coming in. They should be able to find a double here, because Qvo is looking in mid lane for that Loki.
Another good play to Rens.
Uh-oh. Miscommunication from Paradigm there. So they end up, Dignitas did a good work at actually picking up a kill and getting out of trouble for the most part. Paradigm split the difference and didn't find either kill because of it.
Here's the aggression coming out of Dignitas. The horse followed up by the support, who ults down, but unable to find the target. So no stun coming out of the ultimate, out of the Guan Yu. Here comes Trixtank ulting on the backside. We'll look up the front side. Xaliea hangs on for dear life with the ultimate. That'll provide some damage reduction. The turret gets him out of there, and Trixtank punishes Variety for aggressing on his teammate. Funball kills Shadownightmare at the same time the ultimate comes out. 4 members on the side of Dignitas are dead. Hold that thought. FrostiaK just spawns. 3 are dead. Loki's up, but Paradigm looking directly at what seems to be the enemy jungle.
Xaliea, the past 2 games, the past couple of weeks, is just surviving with the barest amounts of HP. He had a game earlier this week where he survived with nothing. Some with Con game last game up against Rens multiple times with no HP and survived. Then he just jukes out of the torrent.
So crafty. I mean, not only did he juke out of the torrent, but he was able to live that long because he was in the air with the ultimate with damage reduction. So
big impact. And you can see one of the things in terms of build right now. Look at Variety. He's 1-5, which, you know, he's been camped a lot in that lane.
Sure.
But this is when you go Mystical Mail, which is he's trying to do. Go defensive, get Mystical Mail online, which is very impactful on a Guan Yu as well, so I don't discredit the build in any way.
Of course.
But Mystical Mail takes such a long time, it's so gold efficient, gold effective that you need to get to finish it off. It's so expensive that you fall behind if somebody goes damaged and is having a great game like Xaliea. It takes too long to get online. It's one of the things that people say, nerf Mystical Mail because it's too strong. Well, when you think about how much it costs...
Yeah. The cost is very prohibitive to see the early game. Even if you start off with rank 2 Mystical Mail, it's still 1,450 gold to really get there. Lawbster's here, helping out his tower just a little bit. No stun onto the Athena since she was channeling the ultimate. And with 3 members of Paradigm here on the right-hand side, we're 13.5 through this second game of a 2-game split. 15-3 read the kills, and with that huge, huge disparity, the gold telling a similar story, almost 10,000 in the way of Paradigm. Very strong game for these guys.
It is. They're trying to invade the speed buff now as well of Paradigm and just continue to put the pressure onto them. I love the comp that came out from Dignitas, honestly. It sounds really weird on paper, but when you really think deeper, hold on.
There's the speed, and there is Xaliea. He's going to go ahead and just annihilate Shadownightmare this time around. Variety will find his way out, but just barely. Funball will give chase. The rest of the team will chase onto the support. QvoFred meets Variety over the top. Here comes the assassination attempt. It's successful, but quickly answered by a couple of basics out of the mid lane mage Lawbster on that Isis. Funball and Isis will push the right side. Xaliea Well, he's going to stop by for some drive-through harpies and then likely meet up with his team later on.
This is Paradigm just exposing the golden experience advantage right now and the composition from Dignitas that hasn't worked out. Their whole comp, if you look at it, is generally mid to late game focused, but what they do have is the wombo combo, as I want to call it, because we've got an Athena. And Athena combined with a Guan Yu or cavalry charge is very strong. And the stealth version, which I was going to mention there, you mentioned yourself, the Loki assassinate into Athena dunk can be so prevalent and so strong. I like the comp, it's just not worked out because individually in lanes, they've really struggled this game. And Paradigm have punished them for this comp now because they've not found what they were looking for.
Right, he does pick up Trixtank. That'll be a big part of the crowd control coming out of Paradigm. If Team Dignitas want to go ahead and re-engage, it's now a 4-on-4 as Shadownightmare taken off the map by the hands of the Chaac-wielding Xaliea. Variety going to be stunned out of his Tallow Assault. That's a lot of damage. Stopped onto Funball. And Paradigm's going to retreat. Dignitas giving chase, but how much chase? FrezzOO caught out. Zigzag. QvoFred puts him in the ground. That's the 22nd kill for the guys on Paradigm.
Rough situation now for Dignitas because it's like, well, how do we get back in? Well, we can stall for late game. But at the moment, what we're seeing from Paradigm is they're happy to farm kills, and Dignitas are happy to try and take trades and get 1 or 2 kills back, which is setting them up to potentially get picked off. With all the towers pretty much falling down now on the side of Dignitas too.
Right.
But they've only got a tier 2 tower to defend and Fire Giant to contest, and it makes it more difficult to get to late game, especially when your mid lane Scylla, which is one of your hyper carries you're looking for at late game, is only level 12.
You know, that's a point that I wanted to make earlier, Hinduman. You mentioned how there's no towers left. So when you bring a Freya or any other non-hunter into this long lane in that hunter role, one thing that you sort of suffer or lose is the ability to take down objectives, specifically towers. Hunters obviously really excel at that. Chronos is the exception. Chronos kills towers just as fast, if not faster, than traditional hunters because of the way mage basic attacks are handled onto the tower. Mage gets, you get a little bit of bonus, and then of course the Chronos passive being able to just absolutely annihilate. So not a lot of people bring this Chronos into the long lane. There's a lot of issues with it in people's eyes, but in my opinion, I absolutely love the fact that you keep your tower killer on the map.
Multiple aggression across the map. As you can see, Serqet going aggressive onto Guan Yu as well. Variety's in a bit of trouble. Has to be ulted by FrezzOO to get him out of the combat. Is still Paradigm pressing onto mid lane here as well after.
Spirit Ball off the mark. Dignitas able to push out Paradigm just a little bit, but there's only 2 members here. Funball, on the other hand, is just pushing down the tower. FrezzOO cut out a little bit, taken out by the jungler. Here comes the aggression from Paradigm, followed up by aggression out of Variety. Gets a stun, but is beads out by Trixtank. Trixtank now tanking the tower. There's the ultimate over the top from the mid lane mage on the side of Dignitas, and QvoFred chowing down on the opposition. Down goes the Titan. Looks like an F6.
For sure. There was no other way out of that, honestly, for the boys of Dignitas. It was just too far behind for too long. The composition on paper looked very, very good. When you think about the Athena ult combining with cavalry charge, then you've got Scylla late game as well. They have a monster assassinating the jungle. Loki, not the greatest of junglers. We could see why. Yeah, because if the team gets behind, how can you really help?
Exactly. I liked the setup of the composition, but unfortunately the Loki jungle just never really does it for me. And here's that solo lane solo kill that we saw out of Xaliea coming out with the aggression on a Chaac. A couple of basics and then just lay down the axe, bud.
From what that looked like there, most of when the Tallow Assault hit, it hit Chaac as well. And so when it hits Chaac, all the minions turn their attention to whoever just hit them. So the minions ended up doing a lot of that damage, and Xaliea went, oh wow, you took a lot of poke from that? Let me just ask you a question.
Exactly.
That's what it was.
I mean, that's what we were talking about yesterday, Bart and I, because it was First Blood was also a kill in the solo lane, and the clip was just, you know, guy comes up, hits him with a hammer, and he dies. It was a Bologna kill, right? And he sort of made fun of the clip, but at the end of the day, what a lot of these solo kills, and what I said to him was, what a lot of these solo kills wind up being is these long extended engagements. It's just like poke, poke, poke. 2 waves wind up dealing damage to you over time, and then you're finally able to seal the deal. So Xaliea showing sort of a smaller version, but yeah, minions do a lot of damage and able to seal the deal over there. With that game, though, Paradigm takes 2 off of Team Dignitas. That'll push them further ahead in the standings. And to join us after that game to talk will be the support player, the guy you just saw playing Thor. It's Trixtank. How you doing, man?
Hello, guys. I'm doing very good, thank you.
Congratulations on your win, buddy. You sound to be in great spirits. Now talk to me. We've seen a lot out of this. We've seen you play a lot of this Thor support. I know you like the Warriors. Talk to me about Thor and what he brings to the team.
Well, you know, I wouldn't consider myself a support. You know, my team have been sucking lately, so I had to just step up for my team and just say, you know what, like, I can play mid, I can play solo, I can play jungle. Let's just take the guys that fits in the support role and then just put me on them so I can carry them, you know?
Yeah. I mean,
so
honestly,
that was my idea, basically.
You got player of the game in game number 1. You got player of the game in game number 2.
Did I?
Nobody's ever going to call you a bad player, right? But you're clearly feeling yourself as of late. Is there anything different, or are you just hot right now?
You know, like I feel really comfortable on these aggressive gods, so like it's just so much easier to make plays, and I guess I'm that kind of guy that needs to be so aggressive. Otherwise, I'm not good at like being Geb standing behind, like looking for my mates to do stuff. I gotta set it up for my team, and I also think that's the way we just play. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Trix, you guys are currently sat in second position. You've got a 6-game lead over Fnatic right now in that second position after today, and you've just closed the gap on Epsilon to 3 games at the moment.
Yeah.
Do you reckon you can make it to number 1?
You know, we are not aiming for number 1, and to be honest, I would be happy just to get a second seed. What we're aiming for right now is just to get that second spot, so we can get that what do you call it, like pods bracket. So hopefully, like, we just get that second seed, and that's what we're aiming for, and we're working really hard to make it happen. But we have 2 big contestants in the last 2 games, so we are not safe yet. So we're definitely still focused.
So last question really here for me is, you guys played better. We've seen you step up each time the splits come around, and in the last LAN, you guys struggled a little bit. Are you making any preparations coming to this regionals? In any plans for sort of bringing that game up like you have been online?
To be honest, I think we kind of got settled down with it as a team right now. So I thought we had a fine performance at last LAN as well. There was some there was some issues, but I think we can fix them. And as long as the attitude and everything is good in the team, I think we have the mechanic plays and the tactics up right now. So hopefully we can just keep it like it's going now and go to Worlds.
Awesome. We'll just keep drinking that 50-50 milk and you should be pretty good, Trixtank. I'll tell you that much. Any shout-outs you want to give, buddy, before we let you go?
Oh yeah, I'm going to give a shout-out to my bad team and shout-out to myself for carrying them every week. And I want to give a shout-out to Lydia, who's helping us managing the team and really putting a lot of effort into the team, and I really appreciate that, and the team does as well. Then I would also make, of course, a shout out to Papayetu, and a shirt is coming out, guys. So it's actually pretty cool. I've seen it. It's pretty nice. Yeah, it's looking really sweet. And yeah, I think that's it.
Awesome. Well, again, congratulations on your wins. We wish you luck in the future, and we'll see how the rest of your 2 weeks go. So again, that was support and, well, in his words, hard carry for Paradigm Trixtank. You guys can check him out on various social media. Stay tuned. We've got another European game coming your way, so don't leave the channel. We'll see you in a few.
So sorry, that's my story. I know less than most do. See yourself.
love, but I can never love. No, I can never love. I could do the things she wants, the things I did without.